Alright, so imagine we have a fraction. So is this a fraction? Yes, this is a fraction. Well, what about this? This is also a fraction. So what if this is this a fraction? Yes. So what is a fraction actually? A fraction is represented if the top and the bottom, which is we call the numerator and denominator, are integers, and it's not something like 3 over 2 divided by 4 over 3. Well, technically this is also a fraction, but not like this. Wait. Yeah. So even though this is in fraction form, but this is I'm not sure, but maybe you can call this a fraction. Yeah. So now you know what a fraction is. So we have these fractions. So we also know that 5 over 4 can also be written into 1 plus 5 minus 4 over 4. Why? Because the top of 5 is greater than the 4. Yeah, the 5 is greater than the 4. So this means that we can split, we can get the 1. So we have 1 plus 1 over 4. So this is a fraction. Alright, what about a over 3? So what is the exact form of a over 3 if you want to write it in a plus b over 3? What would be a and b actually? So we're gonna find out. So first we're going to divide 8 by 3. So we have 8. We're gonna divide 8 with 3. So we know that 2 times 3 is 6 with a remainder of 2. And we're not gonna do any further we're not gonna do any further divide because we already found a and b. So what is a? What is b? So 2 will be the whole number. So this will be our a, and this will be the remainder, which is b. And we call this a remainder. So this is a remainder. So the remainder will goes to b. So this is also equal to 2 plus 2 over 3. Alright. So now, what if I want to express 3 over 7 in terms of a plus b over 7, but a is not equal to 0, or I'm gonna let a equal to 1. So this might look absurd, because how can we split 3 into an integer if there's not even enough terms to let us split with? So it's okay. We're gonna make this a 7. So what I'm gonna do is we would have, right, let's solve for a and b. But we just solve for a, so a is 1. We're just gonna solve for b. Alright. So what is actually a 1? You know that 1 is 7 over 7, right? And this will be 7 over b. I mean b. Yeah. So 7 plus b will be equal to 3 over 7. So from this, I think you can clearly see that 7 plus b equal 3. B will be equal to negative 4. It's actually okay that b is negative, because we don't even care as long as b can be expressed in a number. It's just real. So as we know that from this, we can get that 3 over 7 will be equals to 1 minus 4 over 7. And this is actually right. Even though I write plus here, but b is negative, so it's no big deal. Alright, so now we already know some basic tricks, such as, so that's about what we need to know before we step into the difficult ones. This is almost what we need to know. So let's say we have x. We have x over 2 equal to 7. So what if x equal to 14, right? Because x over 2 is a full number. Okay, so I got a little bit distracted. We're not talking about this. Alright, so now I have x over x plus 1. So first of all, you might think that, is this a fraction? Well, technically this is a fraction, but in terms of x, it's like 4 over 5. If you let x equal to 4, this is actually equal. So yeah, this is definitely the fraction. But what we know is the top part, which is the denominator, is smaller than the denominator. So but we can know that this is less than 1. Why? Well, if we do what we did, how do we know that it's less than 1? So we need to know, so to prove that it's less than 1, it must be equal to 1 minus something, right? So 1 minus something k over x plus 1. So what is k? We're gonna find out. So we have x over x plus 1 equals to 1 minus k over x plus 1. So what is 1? 1 is actually the top and the bottom cancel out. So the top is x plus 1, the bottom is x plus 1, it becomes 1. So what we have here is, so this will be equal to 1 minus x plus 1 minus k over x plus 1. And we're gonna solve for k. So we have x plus 1 minus k over x plus 1. This will be equal to x over x plus 1. So we're just gonna multiply both sides by this thing. No big deal, because we assume it's a number. So you have x equal to x plus 1 plus k. What is k? Well, k will be equal to negative 1. Yeah, k will be equal to negative 1. So we know that x over x plus 1 is equals to 1 minus k, which is negative 1 over x plus 1. So this is known as partial fraction. What's a partial fraction actually? A partial fraction is, just partial fraction. We have two types of partial fraction. So the first type, this is the first type. We have the proper fraction. Where the highest power of the top is lower than the bottom. So we know that this is a proper fraction. Proper. What about improper fractions? Well, improper fractions is when the denominator, the highest power of the denominator, is bigger than the denominator. So this is an improper fraction. This is improper. So now I'm going to teach you something, a really quick trick on how you're going to separate this into the simplest form. So the simplest form, what do we call a simplest form? So we're going to return back to fractions. Let's return back to fractions. So we have 8 over 3, for example, again. So what is the simplest form of 8 over 3? Well, we must have at least some integer a in front, and we will have a b over 3, right? Where b must be less than 3 because it's a remainder. And we solve for a and b before. A will be 2, this will be equal to 2 plus 2 over 3. So this is the simplest form. If this is the simplest form of a fraction, this is what I call simplest form of fraction. So in terms of x, this is the simplest form of the fraction. Because we know that 1 is definitely less than x plus 1, right? Even though your x is 0, yeah, maybe sometimes because there's no x in the denominator. So the simplest form in a fraction in terms of x is when the fraction on top has no x. So if I say somehow there's a x plus 1 here, then this is not a simple. We still can reduce it into more. So we know that our goal, so we know the simplest form is when we have some integer and then also some integer, then fx is something you call, well, whatever, x squared plus 1, x squared, x minus 1, whatever, anything you can imagine, as long as a, b are integers. Not necessary to be positive and negative, just integers. Or you want to do fractions, is also okay. I'm just gonna call it constant. Yeah, can constant, not necessarily be integers. Can also be constant, any constant, so any real number. Because, well, I'm gonna say that x plus root 3 over x. So let's say we have x plus root 3 over x. How can we decompose this? So clearly, this is an improper fraction. Why? Well, it's like, we know that this top is bigger than the bottom. It's like 5 over 4, for example. So what we can do, so as usual case, we can split this into x over x plus square root of 3 over x. So this will be 1 plus square root 3 over x. So you see, square root of 3 is not a function, it's a constant. So this is a constant. So this is in simplest form. We cannot further simplify this. So next, so let's say I have x plus 1, x minus 1. Alright, I'm gonna swap. So I have x plus 1, x minus 1. Or x minus 2, for example. So what we can do, so what's the easiest step? I'm going to teach you a step that's very easy, that you can make this directly into like some a plus b over x plus 1. So how? So you see, alright, I'm gonna, so before this, I'm returning to fractions. So let's say I have 4 over 7. So how we're supposed to do this? So if we need a 1, or even a 2, 3, for example, but in this case we only need a 1. So what we can do to the denominator, you can plus 3 and minus 3. So note that this is 0, so it doesn't matter. So you might be asking, why are we doing this? Because we need a 1. 4 plus 3 is 7. 4 plus 3 will be 7. This will be 7. And this 3 will be the remainder. So very quickly, we know that we already have a 1, and it will be minus 3 over 7. And that's exactly what we're gonna do to here. So let's imagine that this x is some number, and what we can manipulate to this so that it becomes x plus 1. Well, it's easy. We plus 3 and minus 3. So the same thing, plus 3 minus 3. So this is 0, so it doesn't matter. So after we plus 3, we will have x plus 1 minus 3 over x plus 1. So as you can see, this is clearly 1, and this will be the remainder. So this will be equal to 1 minus 3 over x plus 1. Very easy and very quickly. So I'm going to give another example. So I have 6x plus 7 divided by 2x plus 4. Alright, even though this looks very difficult, but trust me, it's going to be very easy. So we're going to find out that, alright, this is plus 3. Alright, so we know that if the bottom part, if we multiply by 3, we will get, so if we multiply by 3, we will get 3 times 2x plus 3 will be equal to 6x plus 9, right? So the 6x and 6x matches, but this. So what we can do to the 7 so that it becomes plus 9, we can add 18. So we know that 7 plus 18 is 9, right? Negative 7 plus 18 is 9. Is it? Wait, no. Alright, so 7 plus 9 is 16. Alright, 16, my bad. Okay, so we're gonna add 16 and minus 16 to both sides. So this is, I'm not gonna erase this. So we have 6x minus 7. So I'm gonna plus 16 minus 16 divided by the 2x plus 3. So after this step, what we have? We would have 6x plus 9. Oh, 6x plus 9 minus 16 over 2x plus 3. So you can see that this is actually 3. Why? 9 over 2, for example. Is this 3? Yes. Why? Because it's 3 times 3 over 3. So if 9 is 3 times 3, it's a constant. Yeah, so the 3 is scaled by a constant, scaled by some constant k. This will be equal to k. So for the same thing, 6x plus 9 is 2x plus 3, but it's multiplied by 3. So what we have here is 3 times 2x plus 3 and divided by 2x plus 3, and we will have minus 16 for a remainder. So we will get 3 minus 16 over 2x plus 3, and that's how you do it. So this is the part 1 of the partial fraction. I hope to see you next video. I hope you enjoy this. I mean, I hope you learn a lot from this thing. Partial fraction, part 1. Alright, so what is the summary we learned from this? So in summary, at first we talk about some normal fractions. Yeah, we talk about fractions here, and we know how to split, how to manipulate the fractions so that we will get some constant. And then we learn what's a proper fraction and an improper fraction. And yeah, So the next part, I'm going to teach you how to do partial fraction, and how to do the like divisor, like you know this thing. Yeah, this thing, the divide x squared plus 3x plus 1 by x plus 1. Yeah, the next part I'm going to teach you how to do this. So stay tuned and have fun.